What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Last Gift podcast. I'm Ace. Joining me today is Steve because Flash got some personal stuff he got to take care of, so we're gonna let him deal with that. So Steve gonna come up on short notice, coming in clutch for me to help join me on this episode. We're gonna have some fun tonight. There's some stuff popping off in every single league, conference, whatever you want to call it. You name it. We got crazy stuff going on in every single aspect of the sports world. But Steve, what's going on? How are we doing today?
Doing good, man. Just finished up some work and ready to talk some sports.
All right, all right. I don't remember where we left off on the college football with all the coaching hires, so I'm gonna have to bounce off some of your thoughts on what's been going on recently. What's going all that. We have COVID running through every single professional sports league right now. It's kind of crazy what's going on there. There's had, I think the Carolina Hurricanes postponed their game tonight and the NHL and the NBA is starting to postpone more and more games as it's getting
Wow.
worse. But with that being said, go like, share, subscribe. You know where to find us on the bottom there. Running. We don't have no running gun until January, so that's like 2 more weeks anyway. But you still got us. Steve's gonna thank you fully join us tonight. It's been 3 weeks already. I can't believe we're already a
It's been
month
a
into this
while.
season. It's already
Yeah.
been a month into this season. This is 2.04. So that's going to be fun. Like, share, subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. You guys know the drill. Help us keep growing the channel. I think we're up past 110 subscribers now, so that's great news. But with that being said, Jay Peeps, you want to hit that intro? Because if you guys are on Twitter, you're going to have to head over to YouTube. I'll post a link on my Twitter page so you guys know where to find us. But yeah, JB, hit that intro. Let's get this going. We have too much stuff to talk about. All right, let's get into this kickoff. So, you want to start off with the Monday Night Football recap? We have Aaron Donald and the Rams ending the game the exact same way they started the game on a Kyler Murray sack. They won 30-23. But I gotta say, this is like the craziest NFL season I've seen recently. There's like no clear-cut teams
It's.
whatsoever on the top.
I think
It's
it's
wild.
great. I love the parody. I love the fact that I can't tell you right now who's going to be in the Super Bowl. I don't know who's going to be in the conference divisional championships. I don't
It's
know any of
it,
it. It's
it's
perfect.
gonna be it's all set up for the Patriots and the Bucks, who we fooling.
I would be shocked if it was the Patriots and Bucks, but we'll see.
I don't think the Patriots gonna get out of the AFC the way Kansas City's looking right now, but it's gonna be kind of wild. I think like what you said with the parity, it's really good for the league. I think, but it's gonna be interesting to see how this last 4 weeks go because some teams got some rough schedules. Some divisions are wide open, which we'll get into actually in a little bit with the AFC North, and then some of them is like already clear cut. It feels like so it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. But what do you think about how the Rams showed up last night without Jalen Ramsey?
I mean, that's clutch, right? They had, I don't know, 4 players last night that were out with on the COVID protocols. I think they've
Uh,
added a few since then. I know Jalen Ramsey was the big headline name. I think Odell Beckham's out now, but obviously he played last night. Just a really clutch performance by the Rams that did play in the game. And, Matthew Stafford. I mean, Stafford's out there showing what he can do. What a great move it was for him to finally get out of Detroit and move to a contender.
oh yeah, this is the early season Matthew Stafford, which Mina Kimes was saying today. He's like the early season Matthew Stafford showed back up. because that last month in November he was looking rough. It was some tough sledding for him. I know he was banged up, but he had like back-to-back games with pick sixes, or it was like three in a row. I can't remember the exact thing, but he had a rough month right there. But it was good to see him play. He played within himself. He didn't try to do too much, and Odell out there I think helped him a lot. But Odell's going on the COVID list with a couple more
Yeah.
guys today, so it's going to be interesting to see how they hold up. With the Cardinals, though, I mean, DeAndre still ain't looking like himself. I don't want to be the one who's like trying to say he's like all right, but like since he got the hammy injury, the hamstring, he's just like he's been like a step slower. It feels like I hopefully he gets himself back going to the way we know how we can go, because he had that big fourth down drop last night. So like he don't drop balls, so it's kind of weird and strange just to see him drop one.
Well, let's not forget about that pick that Kyler Murray threw in the red zone too, towards the beginning of the game.
The Donald tip one.
Yeah,
that one I was like, even if that ball didn't get tipped, it was still gonna probably get picked off anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if he didn't see the linebacker right or what.
But it's hard to say because a month ago everybody was saying that the Rams were on the decline. We could sit here and say that the Cardinals are on the decline, but you really don't know. I mean, obviously, you want to be playing your best football right now as you're coasting into the playoffs, but things can change very quickly, as we've seen before in the league, and I love it. I mean, I love the fact that it's very open-ended. Lots of teams are viable candidates, contenders.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, let's talk about one that's there's never any parity in this contest, with the Packers and Bears Sunday night football game. It's like Rodgers just owns them, man. It feels like it's like how Brady owns the Bills. It's the same thing with Rodgers and the Bears. They just own a specific team, and it's like when you play, it's like you almost know the outcome before it happens.
I just want to know what happened to Aaron Rodgers in the city of Chicago, because you can tell that came from somewhere personal. When he said "I own you," it was personal. And I want to know who messed up his order. Did he not get the right Chicago deep dish style of pizza? What happened? Did he not catch a fly ball at a Cubs game? Something happened in the city of Chicago that is stuck with Aaron Rodgers. And this is good for his soul. Beating the Bears is good for his soul, because I would shudder to think what would happen if that man didn't get some retribution beating the Bears.
I don't know. I mean, it feels like there's two coaching jobs, I think, where it's not a matter of if they get fired, it's only a matter of when they get fired. And Chicago and Matt Nagy, it's one of those head coaching jobs. The other one is your team Jacksonville, where I think it's only a matter of time before Urban gets fired. We'll talk about that.
Listen, how much time you got, buddy? How much time you got? Because I can go all night.
I mean, I don't know, but it's like Matt Nagy, like you're down and it's 4th and inches in the fourth quarter. You're down like 2 scores. The game's not over yet, and you punt. You're at like your own 50, almost to the 50-yard line, and you punt there at 4th and inches. Like, come on now, that's just like you got to go for it in that situation. Is like it just looks bad for him.
Coaching scared. I don't know. I mean, he's in a situation now where it's like you can't come back, right? He's climbed down into that hole, and now he's got to try to climb back up. He can't do it.
Oh, no, the ladder's already gone from the well.
No. I mean, at this point, he's, it puts the lotion in the basket or it gets the hose. You know what I mean? That's the situation he's in right now.
No, he's at the bottom of the well, and someone cut the ladder off to get out, or cut the rope for him to get out. That's what happened. It started to rain, and it's starting to fill. The well's starting to fill up, and he's gonna just drown in that well. He ain't coming back from that.
But who has been a legitimate contender to the Packers since Aaron Rodgers has been around? I mean, I know the Vikings have had
in the division
some decent years, but I mean the Bears have. I think Jay Peeps put up the stat that the Bears have been dominated in that series
since Brett Favre showed up. Since Brett Favre showed up.
So this is just business as usual. And I mean, Chicago being the storied franchise that it is, it's just this is a rough 30 years of
football. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But on a plus side, I mean, I kind of got bashed for this one on Twitter because I kind of typed it in wrong with autofill. Kind of screwed me up where I was talking about Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. They were talking about how if Rodgers has it all set up for him if he wants to stay in Green Bay. The Packers have the top running back duo in the league right now. I just want to see them split the snaps and the touches more evenly because Aaron Jones I think has more of the explosive talent than AJ Dillon has, where AJ Dillon can just a freight train that'll just run the entire team over like a Derrick Henry is. Because I think that's what AJ Dillon's going to be in the next 2 years. He'll be very similar to Derrick Henry, but it's just like he's been out snapping Aaron Jones by so much. It kind of got me mad. Like Aaron Jones, like when he gets the ball, he's making plays. So it's just like you got to find that right balance for them in that running back duo because they both are going to be effective. Just got to find that right amount. But moving on, we're kind of running behind on this quarter. We need to talk about the Bucks blowing a 21-point lead and somehow finding a way to come back in overtime like how Brady does it with a wide open Brashad Perriman on a linebacker. Whoever thought that was a good idea, I don't know. Anywho, yeah, what's your thoughts on that? With that 20.1 lead going bye-bye
I
and the
mean,
amount of holding calls that Carlton Davis got away with Stephon Diggs.
I don't know, man. The Bucks look vulnerable to me. I mean, I know they won, and we've seen Tom Brady turn into a different kind of animal in the playoffs before, but I don't know. They look real vulnerable to me. The Bills are a good team, but to be up 21 points or whatever it was, and to let them kind of come back in, I have a lot of concerns about the Bucks going forward, especially with the other teams in the NFC the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, at this point, it's going to be interesting because that first half, the Bucks looked like they could win the Super Bowl easy, like with their eyes closed. But it was like, okay, you're gonna say that as a former DB, no flag, no PI. All right, that's fine. But I mean, were you happy that they called that flag on was it Levi Wallace? I believe it was on when they called it on Gronk when Gronk went into him and they called the flag on him when he didn't turn around because Carlton Davis did that a couple times on Stephon and they didn't call it, but they called it on Wallace. So I'm just saying. I don't mind if it's not a PI, but just don't call it on the other side when it's like kind of iffy call and you call it there, but you don't call it on another one.
Hey,
Just got to be
Ace,
consistent with it.
is that the Saints logo on your glasses?
Nah.
Just checking.
Oh no. I could have a whole rant on what came out. I think it was today or yesterday, because I think Dean Blandino and Mike Pereira they have this kind of podcast or whatever where they talk about questionable calls, right? And they're saying how they're talking about this old pass interference call where they called in that Rams Bills game where they said they rather have the city of Buffalo be mad at them than they rather have the city of Los Angeles be printing papers being mad about the referees because the sheer market size of LA is so much bigger than Buffalo. They'd rather have that kind of have the smaller team's market being mad than the bigger team, but it's like
Well, yeah, and Buffalo is used to disappointment, so
yeah.
I mean,
All right. Enough about that. Let's talk about these 49ers and Bengals. Kittle right now, he's playing like the number one tight end in the league because Travis Kelce's been kind of disappearing.
yeah, Kelsey's not been himself.
I don't know what's up. I think he's banged up, and they just because him and Tyreek's been they were showing up on the injury report earlier this season. I don't know if that has anything to do with it right now, or they're just trying to save him so he doesn't get all banged up in the playoffs, which possible. I don't know, but he's just not been looking like how he's been.
Yeah, the
But I
Chiefs
mean,
are hard to figure out. They went through the early part of the season where the offense just wasn't clicking to now
they're just
they're
running everybody.
yeah, and it just I don't know. They're hard to figure out, but if they can put it all together, I mean, they're a real contender.
Yep, and then we have the Bengals and the Chargers. I think they have the same issue. I said this on Twitter. It's like they have the same issue in terms of they go as their offensive line goes, where if the offensive line protects Herbert and Burrow enough and opens the running lanes open for Mixon and Eckler, they could beat almost any team in the league. But as you saw on Sunday, their offensive line did not hold up against the 49ers defense, where Joe Burrow is just constantly under pressure. He's constantly getting sacked. and it's just like they just fall apart. I don't know if it's because it's the winter time and they have no indoor practice facility and they just fall apart every winter. But
Well, that offensive line was a problem, right? I mean, that was the big like controversy, or not controversy, but the big debate before the draft. You
draft.
know, Jamar Chase was there, which of course you want to pair Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. You want to have a reunion there, but that offensive line needs a lot of work, and they've got to get that addressed if they really want to take the next step forward. But it's yeah, the guys they have right now, it's still going to be a continuing issue until they can address it through free agency or the draft.
All right, let's go quick. Is who do you think is going to win the AFC North? Because that's one of the ones I was talking about would be wide open. Because I think the Ravens are going to ultimately win it because they have the best quarterback. But it's going to be tough if as long as he's healthy, they'll win even with all the injuries they have. Because the Browns got 8 guys on COVID. The Bengals in winter fall apart, and the Steelers are just immature. And I'll talk about that in hot topics at this point. But who do you got before we head over to
I'm gonna go Ravens too. And the one thing I'll say about the Ravens is they've probably had to overcome more adversity than any of those other teams. This
in
did
the North?
not look like it was going to be a spectacular season for them, and what they've done so far through it all. I mean, I think they can handle the pressure coming up.
Yep. All right, let's head over to the NBA now, where this was for Flash. This section I had was for Flash, but he's not here today, so I'm gonna do the Lakers monologue soliloquy. So bear with me here because the Lakers they have an issue, and it's on the defensive side of the court, right? And the media and the team is looking for a scapegoat for their issues right now because they just look bad, like really bad right now. And the guy they came up with as a scapegoat is Russell Westbrook, and that is the wrong choice because most people, if you actually look with an objective viewpoint, they're going to see it's actually not Westbrook who's been bad, even from a statistical and a basketball perspective, because Anthony Davis has been getting he's getting his butt whooped there's grown men coming in and they're just beating him up. Like, they're coming in, they're taking his candy, they're taking his barbecue chicken. It's a whole outdoor backyard barbecue going on with Anthony Davis because anybody just coming in and he's getting worked and he ain't coming back and he ain't taking the accountability, or no one's saying, all right, Russ, this ain't your fault, because they're talking about trading Russ right now. Like, their internal discussions is what they're saying, but I find that's why you go immediately to Russ? Like, he's the problem to every situation. Like, him and Harden didn't just decide Russ was the issue with him and Harden, because when they were both together, they had the highest scoring duo percentage or whatever in the NBA history when they were both on the court in Houston, but that didn't work. And then they blamed him for him and Bradley Beal with the Wizards being so hurt, and no one beside those two guys. And in Oklahoma City, they blamed him. It's they keep blaming Russell Westbrook when it's just not his problem every time the team falls, because early in the season with Russ is they have to work and to get himself used to the team he's on. And then in that second half of the season, after the new year hits, he goes running. But with the Lakers, they're quick to just all right, Russ is our issue. Let's go trade him and throw a guy like Ben Simmons, who, while Russ will give you 100% effort every day on the court, Ben Simmons maybe I'll show up. Maybe I'll do this. And it's the only thing he's got over Westbrook right now is his defense, and that's not even saying much because who knows what basketball shape he has been in since he hasn't played basketball since, when was the playoffs? April? I think it was April. He's probably last played basketball. I don't know what he's been doing away from the Sixers, but I mean, it's kind of just kind of jump the gun, quick to point out your scapegoat for who's the problem in Los Angeles.
I got to defer to you on all that because I am clueless.
This is the part where Flash would come in and he's probably thinking, because I think he'd agree with this one, but he ain't here, so we'll just move on for our Lakers thing, because this one also we were talking about last week. JP was knowing about this. We were playing the clip where we were talking about Damian Lillard. There was a report from Woj saying he would want to trade or whatnot, and how the whoever the Trailblazers hire as their new GM after their last one got fired because they had some sketchy stuff going on. I'm gonna leave it at that. In that organization with him, he's gone, so whoever they're gonna hire wasn't gonna give him a contract extension, so he was gonna most likely get traded. Where Damian came out and he said, "Nah, that's not true," and he called him out for the bad reporting or whatever. So it's gonna be interesting. I don't think Dame's gonna go anywhere per se because if he wants to go, he will go. If he doesn't want to go, he's gonna stay in Portland. And I think he saw what Giannis did in Milwaukee, and he said, "If Giannis can do it in Milwaukee, I think I could do it in Portland." And I don't blame him for thinking that. JP, where are you in the comment section? He's just quiet. He only talks about when it's like the Bucks or something. Anywho, let's talk about what just happened. Actually, like I think it was a half hour ago, or like 40 minutes ago. When I wrote the script, it didn't happen yet. I thought the game was at 8:30, so bear with me, guys, because I thought we would have had time to talk about it before he broke the record. But we know we're talking about Steph Curry. He broke the NBA three-point record from Ray Allen, took it from Ray Allen tonight in Madison Square Garden. So he is now the official record holder for the most three-pointers ever made in a career. So, I mean, I'm going to ask you this. I mean, I know you don't do too much in the basketball world, but how do you think he's impacted the game of basketball and like the regards of like how MJ and Kobe changed it to how they play and then how the game off the court and on the court has changed since Steph showing up in the NBA?
I mean, Steph Curry, best shooter of all time, right? I mean, obviously put a little bit more emphasis on the three ball than I think there was before his time. And, everybody's looking for a Steph Curry now.
Yep. That's all you got?
I mean,
As he's talking about Chicago.
Well, yeah.
Chicago got like the whole team got COVID right now. You ain't seen Chicago for a little bit. I think they have like 7 guys on the COVID list right now. On the team is like they're barely having enough players to get you and play a game. They signed Stanley Johnson like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, so just so they will have 8 guys to play, and not have to like postpone the games or whatever. So
crazy.
Right there. Clay's coming back by Christmas. They're steamrolling everyone now. If Clay comes back to like even 80% of what he was before the 2 injuries, they're gonna walk it.
Yeah, it's back to a few years ago when Golden State was dominating. I mean, Phoenix could maybe give them a little bit of trouble, but I think Golden State's got it.
All right, this one's kind of weird because it's nothing like confirmed or like said, but there's been an increasing talk of Kyrie coming back to play basketball. He posted a picture of him in his basketball sneakers, like he's ready, like he's gonna come back. But there is some like ambiguity as whether it's gonna be playing because of a trade where he gets traded to another team, or if he's gonna go and play in Barclays, which would because Brooklyn's got a bunch of guys on COVID. I think they got 6 or something like that. Harden just got put on today on the COVID list, and KD just got cleared, so they'd be able to play tonight and have the 8 guys. So, I mean, I don't know if Kyrie's going to come back for Brooklyn or because I think they said Dallas made a phone call asking about if Kyrie's available. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if he comes back or not. But the trade market's going to heat up starting tomorrow because tomorrow's December 15th, and that's when most free agents, like guys who got signed in free agency, like this last offseason, they can get traded. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes up in the NBA trade market starting tomorrow. But I won't be surprised if you see some more talk of Kyrie probably getting traded.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to play again. I just don't know where, but I don't know. I think he stays with Brooklyn. Just got a feeling on that.
All right. That's a good one. All right. This one's not entirely okay. Most surprising team in the East right now. You already said it, JP. Chicago. I gotta say Chicago. I didn't think the way it went. Let's go back to the other one first before I have my mini rant / open invitation to a person. All right. So I think it's gonna be Chicago because the way when DeMar, Zach, and Lonzo are all on the court together, they've been balling. I mean, I think they were like top in the East or second in the East or whatever when they're all 3 are playing together. But if they can survive the COVID issues they've got right now, I think they'll be making some noise in that Eastern Conference as long until Miami figures out their injury issues with Jimmy getting banged up, and I think Bam's out for almost a month, over a month. So with his thumb injury, I think he tore something in his thumb, so he's gonna be out a while. 5 weeks, I think, is the timeline. 4 to 6, and that was last week, so about 5. But yeah, so Miami's banged up. Milwaukee's how should I say it? They're riding
Struggling.
the waves right now. Or like it's like a storm going on and they're stuck in it right now. So when Milwaukee gets out of that, they're gonna Milwaukee's probably the favorite for me right now, but I think Chicago's gonna make some major noise come
Um,
playoff time.
I'm happy to hear that with Billy Donovan.
Oh yeah, he is the coach over there. I forgot. All right, all right. I've had, as y'all know, who's watching this show for the last couple of weeks. I'm a Magic fan, and I've had my part-time rants on Jonathan Isaac. And someone posted on Twitter today, is like they had posted the injury report, and it said so they're not expecting Markelle Fultz or Jalen Suggs back until after December 30th. So that's sometime in January, early January. Those two are going to be back. Markel's already practicing with the team and all that, so he's working on his conditioning to come back. Jonathan Isaac, however, he tore his ACL and meniscus back in August of 2020. And he's not expected back until February of 2022. He's had more appearances on Fox News than he's had on the NBA court. And if Russell Westbrook gets traded before February, he's going to have played on the Houston Rockets, the Washington Wizards, the Los Angeles Lakers, and whatever team he gets traded to before Jonathan Isaac steps foot on an NBA court again. So I'm just saying, it's like some Magic fans think he's going to come back and he's going to average he's going to be a defensive player automatically or whatever. I mean, the man suffered some big injuries in his career. He's not expected until February. He's missed almost 500 days, 600 days now. I already lost track. 400, 500 days since his last injury. Klay Thompson tore his Achilles, I think, after him, and he's still going to be back before that. I mean, Markelle tore his ACL after him, and he's going to be back. It's like, there's some stuff going on with Jonathan Isaac. I don't know. If what we're going to talk about next with Zion and his setback is going to be what I think it is, and the Pelicans look to trade Brandon Ingram. I mean, if the Pelicans want Jonathan Isaac, I mean, here, take him. We'll give you whatever you want with him too, and you guys give us Brandon Ingram. That'll be fine. But that being said, on the plus side, Cole Anthony, he's going to be an all-star maybe this season as a reserve. He's been most improved player of the year. And Greg Anthony, if you ever want to come on the show, please come on the show because we like what you're doing over on Twitter with the Magic sponsorship and promotion of Cole Anthony and how he's been doing and being all in on Orlando. And it'll be a great opportunity to come over here and talk about Cole and Cole Worlds being awesome right now and being the best player in the Magic. And Skip Bayless is so stupid he doesn't even watch the Magic, thinking Jalen Suggs is the best player in the Magic. Slap that man upside his head because he doesn't even watch basketball. All right. With that being said, so Zion suffered his setback and injury where he's getting soreness in his foot since his surgery or whatever. So I don't think he's coming back this season. I really don't. I mean, he's got to do some major dietary changes and physical changes because I don't think his body's going to hold up. But that weight on his foot, because foot and knee issues coming from that side, that ain't going to hold up. What do you think about that, Steve, before we head over into college football?
Gotta agree with you.
You got no idea.
No clue.
This is the one you're going to talk a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
This is
We know you're going to talk plenty about this one.
My bread and butter.
All right. So this one I didn't notice until today, but I didn't realize Clemson lost their offensive coordinator, Tony Elliott, as well as Brett Venables to Oklahoma and Tony Elliott to Virginia. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think? God.
Dabo?
Yeah, Dabo. I was about to say Debo, and I'm like, no, it's not Debo. I was about to say Debo Sweeney. I was like, no. Yeah, what do you think you're going to do from Clemson next season?
You know what? I mean, I don't think you're not going to hear from Clemson for a little bit.
Ooh.
I'll say this for Clemson. They got money to go out and get some good assistants, but I don't know. I think you're going to see a bit of a decline, and this is what makes. Watch what happens with Clemson over the next. Well, watch what happened this past season, and watch what happens with them over the next couple of seasons, and it's going to make you appreciate. That's right. Their AD went to Miami, so that's
I
right.
didn't know that.
Yeah, so everybody's jumping board. But what I was going to say was, watch what's happening with Clemson, and let it make you appreciate Nick Saban that much more and the continuity that they've had at Alabama, because it is hard to continuously be a contender when you lose assistants. This is the same thing that was happening in Florida a decade ago. You'd lose coaches left and right. But yeah, I mean, Venables was making that defense what it was at Clemson. That's a huge loss for them. Tony Elliott, I don't know. The offense wasn't really that great. But Venables with Dabo without Venables, I don't know. I'm not buying Clemson stock right now.
I don't know if they've hired anybody yet because the ACC is wide open right now because they're covered. They lost a lot of talent last season, and they're gonna lose a couple more guys on the defense and Justin Ross on the offense this season in the draft, and they're losing their assistants. And like you said,
their recruiting class is falling apart.
yeah, don't forget that. It's like
there's not going to
like
be
you said, with the appreciation for Nick Saban and how he's managed to keep it all together and maintain that success for almost over a decade now. It makes you think, because Clemson, they had success since like 2014, I want to say, when Deshaun showed
about
up.
the middle
About
of this last
2014.
decade. Yeah, something like that.
So that's
But
what,
I'm,
8 years almost.
this is what happens with some of these teams. I mean, Clemson especially, right? They're kind of new money, in terms of their recent success, and it's hard, right? You get the ebbs and flows of college football. But yeah, there's not going to be any Dabo pizza parties for a while.
All right. I mean, let's move over to another Carolina team, South Carolina team, with Spencer Rattler heading over to South Carolina to go back with his coach Shane Beamer. I mean, what do you think about that one? I mean, it's like he's going to get his butt whooped by the SEC defenses, I think, because he couldn't even handle the Big 12 last year. So
I mean, it depends on what your perspective on it is. I mean, do I think that Spencer Rattler is going to do better with his South Carolina supporting cast than what he was able to do at Oklahoma? No, I don't. But that said, he could still have some success there. I think it's looking at it from the perspective of Spencer Rattler, it's maybe not as big of a win, but for South Carolina, I think it is a big win. And because I think it shows that Shane Beamer, can go out and recruit guys to go to Columbia, South Carolina. I don't.
I mean, we
talked
about this on Run and Gun, though. We both agree. I don't think he would have been. We don't think he would have probably been a good fit in FAMU and how they've been trying to build that program up the last 2 years, last year. So I mean, I thought Arizona State would have been a better fit with Herb Jones, but I mean, I guess he can make it work with Shane Beamer, like you were saying.
Yeah, Herm Edwards would have probably shaped them up. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a big win for South Carolina, though, right? It's giving the Gamecock faithful a reason to believe in Shane Beamer, which is what I think is really the most important takeaway from this. I don't know if Spencer Rattler's going to work out or not, but they were playing a graduate assistant last year as their quarterback, so anything's an upgrade at this point.
I mean, we can say something about that, but we won't.
I mean, they beat Florida.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You said. All right.
And Spencer Rattler has beaten Florida too. So anyway, yes.
All right. Let's talk about Bo Nix. So Flash's favorite guy, saying Bo Nix ain't that guy, is heading over to UC. Oh, I'm not saying he's going to head over to UC. My bad. I said, I was thinking he might follow Gus Malzahn over to UCF, like bring back the Auburn connection. You see like how Spencer Rattler went over with Shane Beamer, right? So I was thinking you might see something with Bo Nix there because of Dillon Gabriel heading into the transfer portal. I think it kind of makes too much sense for Bo Nix, but I don't know if they're going to do it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. A year ago, we were saying that it was good for him to get away from Gus Malzahn. Now we're saying he's going to
Go
go
back
running
with
back to
Gus.
Gus Malzahn. So, it's certainly a possibility. It's hard for me to think of other fits because Bo Nix was such an Auburn guy, right? His dad playing there and everything. It's really hard to think of like where he goes. I don't think it'll be an S.
Did we just lose Steve? Oh no, he's back. Wait, no, he's gone. Give him a second. If not, I'm going over to another topic. And I think he's gone. All right. Well, he's talking about Bo Nix being like his dad being there. He's being that Auburn guy. I don't know what happened to Steve. JP's trying to see if he can figure out what happened to him. But anyway, let's move on. I'm gonna talk about how much of a joke the 2022 NFL draft class is, or what we thought would have been the NFL 22 QB draft class for college football. Oh, Steve's back. Kind of moved on to talking about the joke of the 2022 draft class. If you want to join that, or you want to finish up your Bo Nix stuff, finish up your Bo Nix stuff before we go.
No, I mean, it's just hard to imagine him anywhere other than Auburn, so I have no idea where he's going to end up.
All right, fair enough. All right, so when I joined Penalty Talk, the first things we were doing, me and JP's were doing together was the preseason like conference breakdowns or whatever, right? And we were talking about the like projected top quarterbacks for this draft class coming up, right? And it was Spencer Rattler, Keaton Slovis, and Sam Howell. We're like the top three guys, right? Well, now it's Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, and Matt Corral. So is like how much of a drop off that happened between this how college football happened. So it's from the beginning of the season what we thought was going to be the top three guys to what they are now. It's kind of crazy because both Spencer Rattler and Keaton Slovis both went into the transfer portal. I don't know if Howell has declared for the draft yet, but I assume he would, even though it was a kind of an up and down season for him. But I just wanted to see, like, what do you think of how wild this season's been for college football and like the way how things have shaped up?
It's certainly been a surprising season in terms of the quarterback play. The guys who are the headline names aren't necessarily guys that you saw, um, shining early on in the season. So, I mean, um, I knew Matt Corral was going to be good, but talking about Matt Corral as one of the best prospects for the NFL draft is really kind of surprising. I don't know that I would. I don't know. I'm a little scared of his NFL potential there. He just doesn't. You never know. I mean, it's hard to say. You just never know. I would have. I honestly would have thought Kyler Murray wouldn't have made it in the NFL, and Kyler Murray is who he is. But yeah, it's just been surprising. There's just been so much craziness. Clovis. I mean, you could point to like the USC noise there. Hal. I don't know. I still think Hal could potentially have the best career out of all of them. But he has been very inconsistent.
That's to say nicely. But I mean, in terms of who would have been the top quarterback, a scout had said if Bryce Young was eligible for the draft this year, he would have been the consensus number one quarterback for this year, right? Well, Bryce Young is also the first quarterback to win the Heisman for Alabama, who's already produced 3 Heismans in Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, and Devontae Smith. So, I mean, where does that put you in Bryce Young when they've had all these great quarterbacks like Joe Namath and, well, Tua was great when he was there before he got hurt. Mac Jones, they had Jalen Hurts for a while. So, I mean, it's like, where do you think Bryce Young's going to fit himself up in the Alabama upper tier of quarterbacks?
I mean, when I think it's all said and done, maybe he'll be the best. But the one thing that he has yet to do is he has yet to win a national championship.
It was also his
So
first year, so he has a good shot at winning
yeah,
this year.
he does. And then obviously, just as a freshman, I wouldn't bet against him, even if they don't win it all this year.
He'll be back
I wouldn't bet against him not winning one in the next couple of years. But it really just depends on what he produces. I mean, he's already got the Heisman. Get another ring or two, and maybe you go down as the greatest quarterback in Alabama history, which is saying something.
Yep. But I mean, one of their top competitors for this year's playoff just lost their defensive coordinator, Dan Lanning, to Oregon to replace Mario Cristobal. So I mean, what do you think that's going to be? Because I don't think you came before Mario Cristobal headed over to Miami and some of these coaching hires. So before we head over to hot topics, what do you think about Mario Cristobal to Miami and Dan Lanning to Oregon among some of the head coaching hires that you've missed out on?
So Cristobal to Miami, I get because he's a Miami guy, and he's a great recruiter. And I don't think there's any big Mormon schools in South Florida, so he won't be losing to Utah. But no, I don't know, man. I like Cristobal. I think he's a great recruiter, and obviously that Miami needs some of that hype back. But I don't think he's the greatest game day coach, so remains to be seen just how scary he'll be. But I mean, it's going to be tougher to recruit the state of Florida. I know that. In terms of some of the other coaching changes, I mean, Dan Lanning to Oregon seems early for him. I know Georgia just had a great defensive
He's
year.
only 35, so keep that in mind too. He's pretty young in the coaching ranks.
I don't know. I mean, not that Chip Kelly's been like killing it at UCLA, but man, I don't know. Like, I don't see it.
One.
I don't see it. And to be honest, I don't know where Dan Lanning's from. I know he obviously just coached at Georgia, but I don't know what part of the country he's from. I don't know if he's ever coached in the Northwest before. Can he recruit out there? I mean, I guess anybody can recruit with Nike money, but I don't know. And then some of the other ones, just to touch on a few. I mean, Venables to Oklahoma. What a weird fit.
The Big 12 desperately needed like some defense over there because it's a straight offensive kind of game script over there. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, it just because it's such
an offense. I also think that move is in preparation for the move to the SEC.
Yeah, you can make that argument, but I mean, I'll say this: he went out and got Levy as his offensive coordinator, which I think was a great move. It could work out. I don't know. It's not even the oddest fit though. The oddest fit was the Louisiana Leprechaun, Brian Kelly. All right, that.
I thought it was a good move at first, and then when they had the Walker Howard
video.
This is going to go into hot topics because that video. I don't want to play it in case we get copyright or whatever. But the way he was dancing, I'm like,
he was grinding on Walker Howard. That's what was happening. I
mean, like, good Lord, man! Like,
I thought it was. I had to do a double take. I thought it was Urban Meyer again, but.
Oh my God! I mean, yeah, Brian Kelly. Like, what the hell were you thinking? That is not something.
He's thinking I got $100 million and I just kept my 5-star recruit, so I don't care. I don't care who's laughing at this. So good for Brian Kelly.
That is true too.
The man had no shame, but I'll tell you this: I will never be able to hear Colin Baton Rouge again without thinking of Brian Kelly trying to do whatever it is he was trying to do.
Yeah. That is true. But I mean,
and that's not his only crazy video. There was another one when he was at Notre Dame, where he was breaking it down. But anyway.
All right. Let's talk about this COVID thing going on in the NFL, NBA, and NHL. So the NFL's had 37 positive cases yesterday, and I think they're up to 62 in the last 2 days now. Where they've got Cleveland put up, like I mentioned earlier, Cleveland put up 8 guys on the list today. Jarvis Landry is the biggest name among them. They starting left tackle and Austin Hooper, their starting tight end, also is on the list. Baker Mayfield is not, so that's, I guess, some good news if you want to look at that. But these teams, this next month, it's going to come down to who's going to stay healthy, I feel like. Like, which team is going to keep themselves out of max COVID protocols and protect themselves or whatever to not end up on that list and miss games because, like, especially with Cleveland and the AFC North, how tight it is, you can't be missing guys like that who are that critical to your game plan for a week because it's going to mess up your season. Like Los Angeles, they already put up Jalen Ramsey. At least, what's his name? The tight end, Tyler Higbee, he came off on a false positive, but they already have Darrell Henderson on the list. Odell went on the list today. I mean, it's gonna be war. Like they always say, it's a war of attrition. This is a war of health. Wait, what happened? Did he lose him again? Oh, that's not good. Okay. But yes, I mean the NBA, they wanted to max. They're increasing their protocols, and they have said they expect an uptick and in the COVID cases with the holidays approaching and already here. If you want to say whatever, because I mean, like I said, Chicago's got a bunch of them. Indiana already lost Rick Carlisle, and Indiana's kind of falling apart anyway. But they've had to postpone some games. And the NHL, the Calgary Flames and Carolina Hurricanes have postponed games. And Steve just said his Wi-Fi went down, so I don't know when he'll be back, but hopefully he comes back. I'm going to carry for the rest of the show. But yeah, so it's like COVID coming back. So, I mean, hopefully these guys stay healthy, because if you guys get put on COVID, I mean, that's one way. That's like the worst way to wreck your season up. And if you have to postpone games or miss games, like if you're in the NFL, and like that can screw up your seasons. I mean, hopefully these guys get good, whatever they got to do to get back on the field. But just like, got to stay safe out there, man. So you don't have to. But yeah, so on another bad note, I mean, I want to give a round of applause for Ben Bishop's career. I mean, we don't have the soundboard anymore, but I mean, we would have the applause if we used to have the soundboard from back in season 1, but we don't. So, round of applause for Ben Bishop on an amazing career. He kind of set up the foundations for the Lightning's kind of Stanley Cup runs, if you want to say, because he's gonna have to retire because of a degenerate knee issue, but. Yeah, thank you. Congrats, Ben Bishop, on a career. I mean, I kind of made this joke to the Tampa Bay Lightning Twitter page. I was like, can you guys trade for him and put him on LTIR so we can get his Stanley Cup ring when we three-peat? Because he the one who set up Vasilevsky to become what he is now. He was a great mentor for Vasi. And those years, he stabilized the goaltender positions. And, I mean, the guy came in, he played well. I mean, he was a foundation. I already said, I'm kind of repeating myself now, but it's like, it's kind of, it sucks to see guys have to retire because of a degenerate issue. Like Ryan Callahan, he had a degenerate back issue or something like that, and he had a forced retirement. And it's like, you hate to see guys who know they got a little bit left in the tank have to walk away from a game they've been playing their whole life because of a crazy medical issue or something like that. So, I mean, shout out Ben Bishop for a great career. Another guy who walked away from a sport, J.R. Smith, man. A round of applause. Shout out J.R. Smith. He got a 4.0 GPA at North Carolina A&T State up there. He's playing golf, and he living his best life as the Henny God and doing good in school for his like some kind of liberal or some kind of arts degree or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, but shout out J.R. Smith from that kind of stuff. Another hot topic we got is our fantasy football apology, because Dontrell Hilliard, I didn't see that going. He looked pathetic, but whatever. Deontay Foreman's the guy you want to get in the Titans backfield for your fantasy playoffs, and I also didn't know Elijah Moore was going to get put on IR, because that kind of screwed me up too. I lost because of I didn't have Elijah Moore in my flex anymore, but it's all right in 1 week. But me and J Peeps, we want to go, like, we rocking our penalty talk league. We got buys this week with was being the top 2 seeds in the fantasy league, so that's gonna be great. We don't have to worry about this week's what's it called, fantasy stress for the playoffs. But your pickup for the week is Rashad Penny. I mean, you guys saw what he did this week against the Texans. But I mean, damn, I wish Steve would come back. If his Wi-Fi would hurry up and come back so he can come on. I want to talk about Urban before the show ends. But if not, I'll have to get him to come back on again. But with that being said, if Steve doesn't come back, let's talk about Spider-Man No Way Home special. I mean, I gotta have a PSA for you guys. Please, please, please do not spoil the movie for those who haven't seen it yet. Like, don't post anything about the movie on social media about like what's in it or whatnot. But that being said, We can always speculate. Don't spoil it. There's a difference between speculation and spoiling. Because you can speculate that if Toby and Andrew are going to show up in it, and I think they are going to show up in it, and also Vulture, because the damn what's it called? Toys spoiled the movie for us, but whatever. But it's whatever. But that being said, don't say anything about what's in the actual movie before you've seen, or if you've seen it and you know somebody else isn't. Don't be that guy or girl or what or LGBT person in that community to or any kind of person, people, whatever, who's gonna be there and be that a-hole to go and spoil a movie that everybody's ready and hyped up for. Don't be that person. Come on now. Think with your head. All right, I think Steve might be back. I see him in the Google thing, so he might come back for our Urban Meyer sets. But yeah, so don't spoil the movie or be a jerk to somebody if you know what's gonna happen. I mean, if you guys don't want spoilers on Twitter, go mute specific words that you know are gonna probably have spoilers in them come Thursday. And I think one more thing what we had was, yeah, it was gonna be either Brian Leftwich or Eric Bieniemy. I think it's gonna be either who they should hire or who's that guy? What's another guy I had on my list and I forgot who it was. I didn't write it down. Brian Leftwich needs a head coaching job, and I mean the opportunity to work with Trevor Lawrence is there. I mean, if he gets offered that job, he's gonna take it. So you offer him that job, let him take it. That's what they need. They need a guy who's gonna come in there and set the tone for that franchise because Urban Meyer lost that locker room in less than a year. I mean, I don't remember who was the I wish I could remember the guy who was the head coach for the Cardinals for that one season before Cliff Kingsbury showed up, and he had that really bad season. He got fired right away. But I mean, yeah, I think Brian Leftwich is the guy to come in there. He can be that stable presence that they need. Or Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles might actually, to be honest with you, J Peeps, I think Todd Bowles is probably a better fit for Jacksonville in terms of how should I say this? Setting the culture for them. And then you find a good offensive coordinator for the offense to work with Trevor. Because I think what they need after Urban Meyer's shenanigans and what happened to them, they need a guy to come in there and set the tone for that organization. And I think Todd Bowles can come in and do that. So, I mean, JP, send me up in the comment section and see what you got to say for Todd Bowles going to Jacksonville over at Bieniemy. See if Steve comes up. JP, so I might just be standing here by myself. I don't even know what the background is. I can't even say if it's closed or what. I'm just like sitting here like, hey, what's going on, guys? But I mean, yeah. Oh, since we're on hot topics, and I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on. Let's talk about the another Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man Across the Multiverse, I think is what it's called. Yeah, they need an offensive mind, but they need a guy to come and fix that franchise. Bieniemy or Bulls, I think, is a good fit. Even or not Bieniemy, Leftwich. Or any of those three guys would be a good fit for them. But yeah, for Spider-Man Across the Multiverse, there's one thing I thought was really cool in the trailer. Oh yeah, they need a lot. Yeah, they need a lot. That's one way to fit it. But yeah, I want to talk about that Across the Multiverse. One thing I think you guys are gonna appreciate when I point this out. If you watch that trailer again for the Across the Multiverse, you notice there's a time jump from the end of Into the Spider-Verse to Across the Spider-Verse, right? Need a prayer service around the stadium. And they need to get the sage and the incense and all that and just smoke the whole place out. You know what time it is? Just get the sage, burn it all around the place. Clean that, get the good juju back in there. But yeah, if you notice the time jump, so Miles looks older. You could tell he's like it's been a couple years. He's grown or whatever. But when Gwen shows up, she kept the exact same hairstyle from the I don't know if it's the animators just being lazy or whatever. I don't think they do because the amount of detail they put into the first movie. But she kept the exact same hairstyle from that Miles gave her at the end during the Into the Spider-Verse, where he got like his hand ripped off the side of her hair or whatever. And she kept that. I thought that was really cool for her and for Miles. So I mean, I'm kind of interested to see how that goes. And I don't know if Steve's coming back, so I'm gonna do a mini rant on Mapletron. So yeah, Mapletron, man, Claypool, get your act together. I mean, you saw how Fitzgerald used to run it back in Arizona. You get the ball, you run it to the goal line or to the lineman or the hash mark or whatever you got to do. You put the ball down, you hike the ball. You cost your team 12 seconds with your nonsense because you can blame your offensive line. You're still wrong because if you didn't have to do your dance or your celebration or whatever you got to do, then your offensive lineman wouldn't have been over there trying to yank the ball out of your hand to go and snap the ball. And Eric Kendricks went up, came in and popped the ball out and cost your team 12 seconds, which would have been another play and another opportunity to get into the end zone and tie that game. So that's it. That's all I got to say about that. And Mapletron's stupidity and how I don't think Tomlin again. I don't know why Tomlin puts up with that nonsense. But with that being said, I mean, thank you for another episode of the Last Gift podcast. I mean, I'm just doing the period marks after every sentence now. Well, why not? You know where to find us. Like, share, subscribe. You know where to find us on Twitter and on Facebook. I think it's at Penalty Talk, and on Instagram it's at Throw Flags. No running gun. You know the routine until January. We'll be back for that. It's going to be interesting. I think we're going to have some new things for us in season 3. We're going to try something new today on YouTube on the upload. We're going to put chapters in. Hopefully it works out. I don't know exactly if it's going to work, so don't come at me if it does. You know where to find me on Twitter, I think. Because I think JP's access on Twitter with the Penalty Talk when he posts it. So you know where to find us. Make sure you hit the retweet button. Help be a friend, tell a friend. You know the drill, guys. But with that being said, you know where to find us 8 o'clock every Tuesday night, YouTube and Twitter. You got to go over to YouTube. I post the links every time. Set the comments. We like to interact. You know how we do with J Peeps. You come to the comment section, you ask questions, we got the answers. We're going to try to make this big, fun, happy place. Be a friend, tell a friend, repeating myself again. Who cares? I really don't care anymore. I like doing this stuff. And hit the like button, share, subscribe. And thank you for another episode of the Last Gift podcast. I'll see you again.